Hello, we are live. Sorry about the wonky lighting and apologies in advance for coughing. I thought today I would talk about reset, motivation versus reset, because it's interesting. Have you ever come across this where this kind of like internal question where maybe you've been in a work situation, maybe you've been speaking to a colleague and somebody isn't very well, clearly they're not very well, and you say to them, go home, go home, get some sleep, get some rest, and they kind of go, no, no, I'm okay, I'm okay, and they push on, versus somebody who might not be so well. And this isn't about shaming people with invisible illnesses or anything like that, but somebody who's normally, they're doing okay actually, and then they're like, oh, I've got to stop, I've got to go, I've got to do everything else. And the reason that I start with that as an example is I think this is a very classic example of motivation versus hitting the reset button. So I'm going to cut through the thoughts that I have on that and get straight to some of the insights that I've seen over the years. So, with a glass of water, hoping that my voice holds out for this whole live stream, I just want to quickly remind you that you can view videos like these and many others on my YouTube channel, which is at jennykovacs.com. No, it isn't. That's my website. It's at Jenny Kovacs, and you'll find my channel there. You can follow me or connect with me on LinkedIn. Now, I'd rather you connect with me because we're able to then interact properly online. Whereas if you follow me or I follow you, we can't interact as much as we might like to. But that's your choice, up to you. So do that on LinkedIn. You can also do it on my Facebook page, which is my business Facebook page, which is Jenny Kovacs, the Queen of Being Seen. If you don't know how to spell my name, it's just there. But you can find it quite easily by like typing in the @ symbol, visibility, spelt there with an I, not an A, vibe without the S, even though my system is Visibility Vibes, and I will come up there. Feel free to respond, to share your insights, to share your gems, and tag me in there too. So, as I say, rather than trying to debunk and debrief this in a very short live stream, here's what I see the most. Now, I feel I'm really lucky. I'm really privileged because I have, for the last 14 years, laid out my business in a way that serves other people and a way that serves me too. And when I say serves other people and serves me, this means that I get to see, like, firsthand how people are, I guess, how they're doing within a business context. Now, sometimes these can be single business owners, maybe they're authors or speakers, but usually they are consultants, coaches, and they are running a business, usually for themselves, by themselves. And sometimes they have other people like associates, or they use freelancers to work with, to get sort of certain tasks done too. And not all of them, some of them do everything themselves. And then on the flip side of that, I am very fortunate enough that I get to train, I get to speak, I get to mentor, and sometimes coach too, people that work within a corporate environment. So it's kind of like self-employed and employed people. This gives me a really big perspective when it comes to people's motivation, because one of the underlying kind of pinnacles, if you like, for our ability to show up, our ability to raise our professional profile, and our ability to be visible is that we can I just realized my strap's hanging out, sorry, that we can really understand what people are going through. That's the biggest insight that I've got here. And whilst a lot of my work remains private, remains confidential, I think it's important to share the insights. It's almost like running into the fire and coming out of the other side, carrying water for others. I know a lot of people that follow me, specifically on LinkedIn, have a kind of like looking after people string to their bow. So it could be talent management, could be classic HR, but it tends to be the heads of marketing, the marketing directors that reach out. A lot of you work in sales, whether it's sales training within your organisations, or whether you run a sales team. But the piece that people come to me the most within that is they usually come in and book me to deliver a lunch and learn, because that's great. I can speak to the people that are there in the room, and sometimes you've got satellite offices, sometimes different regions of the country, sometimes different parts of the world, and they can beam in too. And it's all well and good encouraging, telling, forcing, or trying to force people to be more visible, to raise their professional profile, to raise the profile of the business, to get themselves, your products, your services out there. But that starts with motivation. And the motivation to do it isn't usually gentle persuasion, encouragement, or force. It isn't explaining why somebody should do something for you. It's quite often our ability to help them see the vision that we have, and how we want to share it, to get them to buy into the business through values and shared values. Because a lot of employees, if they see something about a business that they don't like and they see that consistently, a lot of them move on. Yet in the exit interviews, you'll hear, oh, I just found something with a different salary, or that was closer to home, or so that I could look after my children. You've got all of that data that you could be using to improve the organisational culture, I guess, but you don't ever get the real truth and nothing but the truth. So I think it's really important to be able to identify when motivation is needed for people, and that includes, like, your senior leadership team, I would say from the board down actually, but also to look and see when people need a reset. Now, there's lots of ways you can do this. It doesn't have to be painful, and in my experience with a lot of the companies I worked with, it's a really profitable exercise to do. It might include a bit of reflection. And in one of the courses that I ran under the Superhuman Program banner, what we find is there are some really easy tools. And for me, I mean, they are so easy to teach, so much fun to share. It brings the team and the company more kind of cohesively together. It ignites that motivational spark that comes from within the person, so they're not having to be told what to do. And it means that people make really smart decisions for the business, and sometimes for their own business if they're the founder. But they make really smart motivational decisions that go on to have an incredibly wide ripple effect. Now, how do I know this? Well, one of the things that I did during lockdown actually was I started to incorporate parts of the superhuman processes. These are for really great, like super humans, like humans that are great, humans that are super. But sometimes they're in quite stressful environments. There's a business to run, whether it's their own or someone else's, there are deadlines. And this is like a little bag of tools that you can carry around with you. You can pull them out of the bag if you're stressed. You can pull them out of the bag if you need to be motivated. You can pull them out of the bag if you need to settle your nerves or someone else's around you, your peers or your team, or someone who's more senior to you. They're a little bag of communication skills. They're also a really great bag of making an impact skills. And it's interesting because the first time I ran this, live with 60 people, I did it over a day, and I really tried my hardest to separate the visibility, profile raising, career enhancing stuff out of it. But ultimately, when we had questions throughout the day, people would ask questions that actually pointed to the visibility of themselves and the visibility of the company too. So in short, trying to separate motivation and the reset is a great idea. First off, know whether a reset is needed. And sometimes that can't be by you telling somebody else what to do. It needs to come from the person. Often the person feel like they can't articulate it because they're smart, they're clever, they're savvy, but they don't want to do anything to upset you or rock the apple cart. So give them some training that helps, because not only does this help internally within the organization, it helps with how they communicate externally with clients and on sales calls. And for those of you who are sending your teams out to customer facing people who have they have clients and they are able to what's the word I'm looking for? I guess they're able to affect sales, but they're not salespeople. They don't want to be pushy. They don't want to seem forceful. They don't want to seem over the top. They want to be able to just do a really great job. But when you enhance this part of the communication, it's like they become a very soft, silent sales team too. Like that's a win-win-win for you. Now, the reason that I share this, even though this is going out on my Facebook page and on my YouTube channel, which might not be traditionally associated for the bigger corporates and the bigger brands, is because as single business owners, as solopreneurs, as authors, as consultants, as speakers, this handset of tools also work for you. And the way that you get that is that you don't work in a big organization with a big team, but you might attend workshops, you might take your own personal development and learning seriously. So you might find that this is really great for you too. So, I'll be speaking more about the Superhuman program for employed people and also for self-employed people. I'll also be speaking more about something called Iconic that I've got. And I've made a decision for the next course of Confidence on Camera, which was due to start next week. I'm actually going to push that back and have the next round start in September. So if that's something that you want to do, get on the guest list, get on the wait list. And if you decide that you want to join now, there's lots of things that you can do in between that time while you get summer out the way, maybe children's holidays, maybe you're studying, maybe you're doing something else, but be all fresh to start in September. But if you want to know more about that, just send me a message wherever you tend to connect with me and let me know. And I look forward to telling you more about that. But here's what's important: have the ability to be able to know when to motivate yourself or when to press pause. That's it. Bye for now.